Hey everybody, thanks for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on the tropics again tonight. We have some pretty big changes in the forecast for both Dawn and Invest 93L. Dawn, starting off with Dawn. Dawn has actually became our first hurricane of our Atlantic hurricane season. Dawn recently reached Category 1 hurricane status around 4:30 today, and it's continuing to hold that hurricane strength, because you can see the symbol for hurricane right here matches what we're looking at with Dawn. So Dawn isn't forecasted to hit any type of land, but we also do have a decreased chance now for Invest 95L to strengthen into a depression or a tropical storm. So it's interesting to see how we went from yesterday looking like it was very possible to see a tropical storm to now looking a little bit less likely. But starting off with Dawn, you can see that for now, this was as of 5 p.m. Saturday. You had a tropical storm force wind swaths out here, but I really do think that there were hurricane force wind swaths around this X. I just don't think it's showing out here. But by tonight it's supposed to decrease back down to a tropical storm, so it's only supposed to be a hurricane for a few hours before really weakening pretty much as a tropical storm all the way until Monday. So 2 p.m. it's like midday Monday, it'll probably be a tropical depression. Then eventually it'll just kind of fizzle out there in the northern Atlantic. But you could definitely see that it's still got some room to move around, and it could eventually move this area up here. I don't know what kind of what country this would be. I guess it would be Canada. But this could definitely impact some land. It's got close enough that it's not completely out of the picture, but it's looking pretty likely that this is just gonna tail off to the east, and it's not really gonna do much after today. But we go to the wind speed probabilities just to look at what the chances are to continue seeing that those hurricane strength wind gusts. You could see that we're still up to 100% chance for tropical storm force wind speeds for pretty much this area all the way up until here. When you see that dark red, that's where the chances for tropical storm strength winds decreases. But we go to the hurricane wind speed probability, and it's pretty good. As of now, like right this minute, it's pretty much a 60 to 70% chance. But we definitely Dawn definitely reached hurricane status at some point today. But I don't know if it's already gotten back down to a tropical storm status, as I speak. But you can obviously look at that a little bit later. But we go back to the wide view of the Atlantic, and you can see that we have Invest 93L right here. It's looking a little bit less organized, but let's look at what the National Hurricane Center is saying about this. So, for the central tropical Atlantic, shower activity associated with a small area of low pressure is located about midway between the Cabo Verde Islands and the Lesser Antilles Islands has diminished considerably since this time yesterday. So, it's interesting how we saw yesterday. This was really it looked a lot more likely that we were going to see tropical storm, or maybe even hurricane Emily, just as of yesterday, I guess just last night. But now it's looking like this might not even make it to tropical storm status. But you've got environmental conditions that are forecasted to be marginally conducive for some gradual development. The system could still become a tropical depression early next week, while it could still become a tropical depression while it moves westward across the tropical Atlantic. So it's looking like it's definitely gonna have a shot at getting a name, but I really do think that the most it's gonna get is it's pretty much just gonna reach TD5 or TD6. I don't know what number we're up to, but it's looking like it's probably going to be a depression, but there's still a chance. It's definitely not out of the picture, but there's still a chance that we'll have a tropical storm. But we have a 40% chance of formation through the next 48 hours, and then through the next 7 days, we've got a 50% chance. So that kind of tells you that pretty much the chances for development, if we do see development, it's going to be either tonight, tomorrow, or then sometime early Monday. That's pretty much the time frame of when this thing could actually develop. If it doesn't develop in that time, then I think it's pretty much guaranteed that it won't fully develop. But we go to the satellite loop, just looking at how it is right now. This is it right now. You see rotation, a slight rotation with these thunderstorms. You still got some shower thunderstorm activity. You can see a lot of convection happening around the storm too. There's some wind shear off to the west, so you can see this little wave really struggling out there. But it's still dealing. It's definitely dealing with wind shear, but it's still dealing with some moisture that's helping it. You can see those reds. That is a lot of moisture out there. That's bringing dew points soaring into the atmosphere. But it's definitely looking like it has a chance at becoming a tropical storm. It's still spinning out there. It's still producing showers and thunderstorms. But we'll have to continue watching this, as this could just stay as a tropical wave. But we go over to what the tracks are saying for the spaghetti models. And you can see that they pretty much agree that this is going to move right through the Lesser Antilles. And then one thing though that all of the models that bring it past and through the Lesser Antilles, most of them say that this storm is actually going to get a little bit stronger, because that low pressure number decreases right around here. This area of 96, where you see 96, that is going to be an area to watch, because I think just south of Dominican Republic, you're definitely going to see a little bit more strengthening with the storm, as we are going to see the storm enter some really, really hot water out there. I know this isn't too close to Florida, but we did see 98 degrees. We did see 98 degrees been measured out in Key West, Florida. So it's obviously quite possible for this to strengthen in the Caribbean. It's unlikely, because the Caribbean has been known for the graveyard of tropical systems. But maybe we'll see something that we don't usually see in the tropics season, or hurricane season, I should say. But we go to the latest intensity, the model intensity guidance, and you can see them. Pretty much half the tracks take the storm at least up to tropical storm strength. There's about 3 or 4 that take it up to hurricane status. You can see there's one, the ship, which is pretty much the only model that takes it way higher than expected. This one takes it all the way up to midway category 2 status. Then there's 3 or 4 that take it up to category 1. But there's quite a few that take it to at least tropical storm status. But look at all these models that are really trustworthy. The HWFI is probably the most trustworthy out of all of these. You can have the Icon out here, the HMNI. All those models, those 3 ones, those are probably the ones to stick with. You can see that they stay low. They don't go crazy high with category 2 or category 1 status. They just stay in the tropical storm status and the tropical depression status. But if we actually do see the storm get up to this green or yellow or orange, the colored areas are the areas where the storm would earn a name. The white areas are tropical depression, which are not equal to the storm earning a name. It has to get up to tropical storm status, which would be this green area or above, to get the name. But it's looking like most models are agreeing on it pretty much staying as a tropical depression, and then some of them go a little bit higher. But this is pretty much what we've got for now. We'll definitely have to see what we get with our new model runs tomorrow morning. But for now, this is the latest information that we have on the storm. So we're going to be moving on to the HWRF hurricane model for the kind of the outlook of this storm. We're getting the bird's eye view kind of, but for the model run of the storm. And for now, you can see that it's very, very disorganized. There is almost no rotation out here. There's a little bit of rainfall going on, but it's very, very little. But we get to this was about an hour ago. You had some pretty intense rainfall just on the southern end of the low pressure center. You had a slight rotation. But it's looking like once we get to tonight, this is really going to try and get going. This is probably when we're going to start seeing the more confidence in formation. So based on what we're looking at here already, we might have, we might get up to another 50 to 70% chance of formation, issued by the National Hurricane Center. But we still have to see how this goes. That number did go up, though, as we saw 113 millibars. Now we see 1,014. So we obviously have to continue watching that. But you see the storm really getting bigger, a lot more rainfall around it, which would be a good sign for the storm, just showing that there's a lot more moisture to deal with. And then it gets a lot less weakening, as there is some slight ridging out here that looks, it's not that strong, but it's definitely going to be affecting this storm, as it will also give some wind shear to the storm, mainly for the western and northern side of the storm is going to get impacted by wind shear. But we knew from the start of looking at the storm that the west side is going to be the strongest side. So that does mean, though, that there will be still some moisture on the eastern side left to deal with, because the eastern side is the weakest. It's not only the weakest area, but it's not going to get hit by any wind shear. But we take it all the way to the morning hours of tomorrow. So you're waking up tomorrow morning, you're seeing a lot of rainfall on that western side of the storm. It's not impacting or getting close to any islands yet. We get into midday tomorrow. This is when it's probably going to start getting a little bit more. It's going to get weakened a little bit. And then we carry on towards the overnight hours of tomorrow night. I think this is when, if it would not have a name by this time, by tomorrow, I think that this would be pretty much the golden opportunity to earn a name and get up to tropical storm status, if it ever will. But you can see that clearly the western side is going to be the strongest side of the storm. Some more ridging up here on the northwestern side, but you can see those outer bands really starting to try and circulate around the low pressure center, but they just can't do it because there's too much wind shear, Saharan dust, and also ridging out there. So that's all slowing the storm down. There's a lot of dry air around the storm and in the way of the storm. If we had moist air and a little bit less ridging, I think this storm would get at least up to moderately strong tropical storm status. I think we could definitely have a hurricane on our hands if we didn't have nearly as much dust in the air. But that's really slowing this storm down from getting anywhere with tropical development. But we take it all the way to Monday. This is pretty much the afternoon hours of Monday. You're getting to midday. Actually, no, that would be Monday night. We're getting it to Tuesday afternoon. Sorry guys, I'm losing track of the days. This would be Sunday afternoon. So I was right. Sunday afternoon. You still see that shower and thunderstorm activity. It's carrying on. You don't see pretty much any circulation with the storm. But this is when it really gets going. Both on the eastern side and the western side, you're seeing a lot of precipitation fall down. So that's a good sign for the storm, that there is a lot of moisture left, which means that it's slowing down that dust. But the problem is this ridging out here. There's a lot of ridging that's getting stronger and stronger, trying to push the storm out of the way. And then there's also that wind shear. But this is going to be one of its toughest hours to try and get going, and you can see that ridging really stops it. So we're getting pretty far out. This is 70 hours out, and we still don't see any, sort of, I guess this would be, you know, I guess, like, just development out here. This is not any sort of organized thunderstorm activity out here. But we're getting into Tuesday. This is late morning hours of Tuesday into the afternoon hours of Tuesday, and you can definitely see that it pretty much it loses steam completely right around here. This is when I really think that it could just completely finish. There's a chance it's still going to keep going, as that low pressure number is still pretty low. It's it's not that low, but it's still hanging on to low pressure status, and there is still a little bit of moisture to work with. So we're getting into Tuesday night, middle of the night Tuesday. Now it approaches those islands. This is like, this is now it's approaching the Lesser Antilles. These are the Lesser Antilles up here. I think St. Lucia is up, or Lucia, I don't know how to pronounce it, but there are some islands out here, some countries out here, the pretty small countries that could actually get hit by the storm. The storm's going to be big. There's going to be a lot of bands. There's just going to be so many bands scattered around the storm that are going to be impacting people. But, you can see that this storm, it looks a lot better than it used to at this point. This would be, Wednesday. We're getting into the morning hours of Wednesday. You're seeing outer bands, a little bit more rotation, a lot less ridging out there. And here it goes. That number keeps dropping. It now impacts some of those islands. I think if you're a little bit farther south, maybe into, South America, if you're a little bit closer down to South America, even if you are in South America, like northern South America, those countries out there, you could definitely have a shot at seeing some precipitation and maybe even some strong winds from the storm. But I really think that these, the southern area, islands of the Lesser Antilles are going to get hit the hardest by the storm, if it even, does form. But, it definitely looks pretty likely that whatever the storm is going to be, whatever type of storm it's going to be, if it's going to be a depression, tropical storm, or if it's just going to be a tropical wave still, it still could definitely bring some gusty winds and some pretty heavy rainfall to the Lesser Antilles. But, we get into Thursday, all the way to Thursday. This is pretty much in just under a week. It now passed through where it kind of made a landfall. So this is when it really can get the strongest it's ever going to be. You can see it takes a lot of damage from passing through those islands, and you can see that it kind of jumps all over the place. Now it's localized over northern South America. I don't know what country that would be. And now it's really just all over the place, and it's not really doing anything. The HWRF is actually kind of having a little bit of trouble picking this up at the moment, so I'll switch it over to the HWRF parent, and we'll see what this is saying for wind speeds, and it's having trouble picking it up too. So we'll try one more hurricane model, but this is when we might not even see anything left from the storm at this moment. But we'll look at the GFS. The GFS at this point, really not showing any precipitation on this. So we'll have to continue watching this, but for now, it's looking like it's just going to stay as a tropical depression if it forms. But it still has a shot at becoming Tropical Storm Emily. I don't expect it to become a hurricane, but there's still a slight chance for it to become Tropical Storm Emily. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So we'll continue watching this, and if you are apparently going to get hit by the storm, make sure that you are prepared for anything that could happen, because even if it's, just bringing 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, I shouldn't even be saying just 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That is enough wind take down some trees, some old trees, and some pretty big time tree branches. So, make sure you're ready for whatever comes your way. But we're just gonna have to continue watching the storm to see who's gonna get hit and how hard they're gonna get hit. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and have a great night.